Number 10, 1969 Ford Mustang Boss, 429, 859 units produced. Ford didn't create the Boss 429 just to grab headlines. This car was built for one reason: to qualify a massive 429 cubic inch engine for NASCAR competition. And this wasn't some mild upgrade. The engine was huge, aggressive, and engineered with racing in mind. Fitting that big block into the Mustang wasn't easy. Ford had to rework the front suspension and shock towers just to make everything fit under the hood. That alone makes the Boss 429 different from any other Mustang of the era. It wasn't simply a trim package. It was a serious piece of engineering. Officially, Ford rated the engine at 375 horsepower, but most enthusiasts agree the real output was much higher, intentionally underrated to keep insurance costs under control. In reality, this was one of the most formidable street Mustangs ever built. What makes it even more special is the way it was assembled. The cars were sent to Car.Craft, Ford's performance partner, where they were essentially hand-finished with race-focused modifications. That extra attention to detail gives the Boss 429 a true motorsport pedigree. Today, it stands as a symbol of Ford's late 1960s racing ambitions, a street machine born directly from the track. 1969 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am, 697 units produced. The 1969 Firebird Trans Am marked the birth of a nameplate that would go on to become legendary. But in its first year, it was incredibly rare. Pontiac took the already sharp-looking Firebird and turned things up a notch. Every single 1969 Trans Am came finished in white with bold blue racing stripes, instantly giving it a distinct and unmistakable presence. You couldn't confuse it with anything else on the road. Beyond the looks, Pontiac added real performance upgrades. The Trans Am featured improved suspension tuning, handling enhancements, and additional performance tweaks that made it more focused than the standard Firebird. It wasn't just about straight-line speed, it was about control and balance as well. While the regular Firebird sold well, the Trans Am remained a low-production specialty model from day one, and that rarity, combined with its historical importance as the foundation for future muscle car legends, makes it one of the most desirable Pontiacs ever built. It wasn't just another muscle car, it was the beginning of an icon. 1970 Buick GSX Stage 1, 678 units produced. Buick wasn't exactly the first name that came to mind during the peak of the muscle car wars. The brand was better known for comfort and refinement, but in 1970, Buick proved it could play just as hard as anyone else with the GSX Stage 1. At the heart of the GSX Stage 1 was a massive 455 cubic inch V8, famous for producing incredible torque. This wasn't just about horsepower numbers. It was about raw pulling power that could pin you to the seat the moment you touched the throttle. Buick paired that engine with upgraded suspension components and bold, aggressive styling that made it clear this was no ordinary luxury coupe. And then, there were the colors. High-impact shades like Saturn Yellow and Apollo White made the GSX impossible to ignore. It looked loud, it sounded mean, and it backed it all up with serious street performance. The low production numbers make it rare, but what truly excites enthusiasts is how brutally quick it was. The GSX Stage 1 proved once and for all that Buick could build a muscle car capable of running with the very best. Number 7, 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona, 503 units produced. The Charger Daytona wasn't subtle, it wasn't conservative, and it certainly wasn't built to blend in. Created specifically to dominate NASCAR, the Daytona was a radical aerodynamic experiment. Dodge gave it a sharply pointed nose cone and an enormous rear wing that towered above the trunk lid. Even by muscle car standards, it looked outrageous. But that wild design wasn't for show. It worked. The Daytona became the first stock car to break the 200-mile-per-hour barrier in NASCAR competition, proving that aerodynamics could completely change the game. On the street, the Daytona was just as dramatic. Its aggressive appearance turned heads everywhere it went, and under the hood, it offered serious performance to match. However, because it was so purpose-built for racing, demand outside the motorsport world was limited. That's a big part of why production numbers stayed low. Today, the Charger Daytona is considered a true holy grail among Mopar fans, a symbol of the era when manufacturers were willing to take extreme risks in the name of speed. Number 6, 1970, Oldsmobile 442W30, 262 units produced. The Oldsmobile 442 was already a respected muscle car, but the W30 package took it to another level. This wasn't just about adding decals or cosmetic upgrades. The W30 package included serious performance hardware like an aluminum intake manifold, a more aggressive camshaft, and improved cylinder heads. These changes allowed the 442 to breathe better, rev harder, and deliver even stronger performance. In 1970, only a few hundred cars were built with this specific configuration, making it one of the rarest and most desirable versions of the 442. What makes the W30 especially appealing is its balance. It combined real muscle with Oldsmobile's trademark refinement. The styling was relatively understated compared to some rivals, but underneath, it delivered top-tier power and performance. For collectors today, the 1974 42 W30 represents the perfect mix of luxury and brute strength. A muscle car that didn't need to shout to command respect. Number 5, 1964 Ford Fairlane Thunderbolt, 100 units produced. The Fairlane Thunderbolt wasn't built to cruise Main Street. It wasn't designed for comfort, luxury, or daily commuting. The Thunderbolt had one mission: dominate the drag strip. Ford took the mid-size Fairlane body and turned it into a purpose-built race weapon. Under the hood sat a brutal 427 high-riser V8, an engine developed specifically with competition in mind. This wasn't a warmed-over street motor. It was a serious racing power plant capable of delivering explosive straight-line performance. To give it every possible advantage, Ford went all in on weight reduction. Lightweight body panels, stripped interiors, minimal sound deadening. Anything that didn't help it go faster was removed. Even basic comforts were sacrificed in the name of speed. The Thunderbolt was raw, loud, and uncompromising. Ford produced exactly 100 units, just enough to meet NHRA homologation rules. That limited production makes it rare, but its true identity is what makes it legendary. This car was never meant to be practical. It was never meant to be subtle. It was engineered for one thing: brutal quarter-mile dominance. Today, the Thunderbolt stands as one of the purest factory drag cars ever built. Number 4, 1969 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1, 69 units produced. This wasn't just another Camaro. The ZL1 was on a completely different level. At its heart was an all-aluminum 427 cubic inch V8, a racing-derived engine that made the car shockingly quick. The lightweight aluminum construction reduced front-end weight while delivering massive power, making it one of the most potent muscle cars of its time. But there was a catch. The ZL1 was incredibly expensive. In fact, it cost nearly as much as a Corvette back then, which explains why production numbers stayed so low. Only 69 were ever built. The ZL1 was offered as a special order model through Chevrolet's performance channels, meaning most dealerships never even had one on their lot. You had to know what you were ordering, and you had to be willing to pay for it. Those who did were rewarded with one of the fastest factory cars of the era. Off the line, the ZL1 could outrun nearly anything on the street or strip. It wasn't common, it wasn't affordable, and it certainly wasn't ordinary. Today, the 1969 Camaro ZL1 is considered a true unicorn, a rare factory-built monster that represents the absolute peak of late 60s muscle car performance. Number 3, 1967 Chevrolet Corvette L88, 20 units produced. The L88 wasn't built for comfort. It wasn't built for casual weekend drives. The 1967 Corvette L88 was essentially a race car disguised as something you could legally drive on the street. Chevrolet didn't even market it to regular buyers. In fact, the company intentionally downplayed its performance and made it clear this wasn't a car for inexperienced drivers. Under the hood sat a 427 cubic inch V8 designed with racing in mind, and it demanded high-octane fuel to perform properly. Creature comforts? Forget about them. No heater, no radio. Very few luxuries of any kind. Everything unnecessary was deleted to focus on one thing: maximum performance. The L88 was engineered for the track, plain and simple. With only 20 units produced in 1967, it represents the rarest production year of all L88 Corvettes. That extreme rarity combined with its uncompromising race-bred nature, makes it one of the most desirable and sought-after Corvettes ever built. For collectors who crave raw power and authentic motorsport history, the L88 sits at the very top of the list. Number 2, 1970 Plymouth Hemi Cuda Convertible, 14 units produced. If you're talking about ultimate Mopar muscle, the Hemi Cuda Convertible is in a league of its own. Only 14 were built with the legendary 426 Hemi engine in 1970, making it one of the rarest and most valuable American muscle cars ever produced. It combined bold, aggressive styling with explosive performance that could embarrass almost anything else on the road. Most convertibles from that era were designed for relaxed cruising, top-down, easy driving, soaking in the sun. But not this one. The Hemi Cuda Convertible delivered brutal acceleration and unmistakable presence. It was raw, unapologetic power with the wind in your hair. That unique combination of rarity, performance, and open-top design is what elevates it to icon status today. It's not just rare, it's legendary. Number 1, 1970 Ford Torino King Cobra, 3 units produced. The Torino King Cobra was Ford's secret weapon, a project aimed squarely at NASCAR dominance. Designed with a dramatically sloped nose and aggressive aerodynamic shaping, it was built to compete directly with Dodge's radical winged machines. Ford was serious about speed, and the King Cobra reflected that ambition. But before the project could fully take off, it was canceled. Only 3 prototypes were ever completed. It never reached full production, and it never got the opportunity to prove itself on the track. And that's exactly what makes it so fascinating today. The King Cobra feels like unfinished business, a powerful machine that never got its moment in the spotlight. With just 3 in existence, it remains one of the rarest and most mysterious muscle cars ever created, a symbol of ambition, innovation, and